What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Noguera and I am back with another 7Artisans lens review. Now what we have here is the 7Artisans 7.5mm f2.8 lens. We're going to be doing a deep dive on this, and to get us started, we're going to talk about build quality. Now, first thing that you noticed while handling this lens is its all metal body construction. It is made out of aluminum, as is the lens hood. Now, one thing you'll also notice, especially if you catch it right at the perfect angle, is this huge bubble of glass in the front. Now, this is quite a wide lens, and essentially it is a fisheye, but it also has quite a few elements of glass in it, adding to its weight. Now, the weight that you get from it has a very nice high quality feel. It's not overbearing in terms of being overly heavy. I feel it's the perfect amount where you can have quite a good feel of quality from it, but not super heavy where it's going to weigh you down traveling or even just unbalancing your camera, making it front heavy. The focus ring is very smooth, but at least on the copy that I have, one thing that I noticed is as you come towards the end, it gets really hard to pull. So one thing you may want to keep in mind, I'm not sure if this is like a quality control issue or if this is across the board how the lenses are. I just know that's the case with my copy. Now, this lens also has a declicked aperture ring. So what that means is there is no stopping in between your apertures. So it's a very smooth motion all the way from f2.8 to f22. Now, I think it would have been nice to also have a click on the aperture ring, specifically on this lens, because if you're not used to it, it does take a little getting used to as far as differentiating what is the focus and what is your aperture ring. I found myself sometimes changing my aperture unintentionally and then just basically messing up the shot. Now, one of the things that I want to bring up before we jump into the image quality is its minimum focusing distance. I wasn't able to find an exact number, but I noticed that you could get really close and still nail focus. Here are a couple of images to kind of give you an idea. And to further that idea and give you a visual representation, you could be literally this close and you would basically get a super sharp shot. Now, I wasn't really expecting that from this camera given its focal length, especially with how wide the lens is, but I was really surprised at the results, and I'm sure you would be too, because these images are super sharp, even only being, I don't know, maybe 4 inches away from the subject that I was focusing on. Okay, now let's jump into image quality. After shooting a bunch of images, I realized that the lens has a really heavy contrasty feel, especially when shooting outside. You can see here in the skies, they're like heavy color graded, even though this is right out of camera. I was shooting on a Fuji with a very dull preset, if you will, and the colors were still that vibrant, and the darks were still really dark, giving it a very heavy contrasty look. Now, if this is something you're into, awesome, more power to you. I usually like to shoot things that are a little bit more flat, which is why I keep the color profile on my Fuji to something a little bit more flat. So I was really surprised to see how much contrast and how much color popped right off of this lens, even with a very dull profile on the camera. Now, just like a lot of the other 7Artisans lenses, this is a manual focusing lens. So if you're not used to that, just make sure that you kind of practice, because it could be quite hard if you're not used to it to nail that focus. Nowadays, cameras have a bunch of different features that will allow you to focus peak in different ways to assist you in nailing that focus, but just putting that out there in case you didn't know. It is a little bit hard at times, but once you nail that focus, I gotta admit, the image is quite sharp in the center. Now here you can see on the edges, there is quite a lot of distortion, which is pretty much a given with a lens at this price point, as well as this focal length. You are inevitably going to have at least a little bit of distortion around the edges. But as you can see here, it gets quite soft, even though it remains quite sharp in the center if you can nail that focus. Now, just with the shots that I took, I did notice there was quite a lot of chromatic aberrations. However, this is something you can somewhat fix in Lightroom or Photoshop or in a program like that. However, what I've noticed in my experience is you can never 100% get rid of it. So if you do purchase this lens, just kind of keep that in mind. So in conclusion, I gotta hand it to 7Artisans. They are able to output quite a high quality lens at an amazing price point. For this wide angle, I was able to pick up on Amazon for $139. That's US. And honestly, you could probably find it for around 80 to 100 bucks used on another site like eBay or something of the like. And I think at that price point, it even makes it an even better lens, especially for what you get. Despite its shortcomings, like I said, the chromatic aberrations or the really soft edges and heavy distortion, that stuff can definitely be improved upon in post. So I wouldn't really limit yourself on that decision alone. But with all that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I had a fun time creating it for you. If you are interested in purchasing the lens, I will go ahead and leave a link down below so you can go ahead and check that out. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, do not forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification to make sure that you know exactly when I upload some new content to the channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.